The World Food Programme warns an additional 24 million people could slip into emergency hunger over the next 12 months. This represents an increase of 50% from the current level. The WFP blames drastic cuts in humanitarian funding by governments. It says it's been forced to drastically slash food rations to the world's hungriest people, even as needs rise. It's facing a funding shortfall of over 60% this year. That's the highest in its history. The UN agency estimates that around 345 million people worldwide are facing acute food insecurity, a full 40 million of whom are considered to be suffering from emergency levels of hunger. The WFP warns that should the trend continue, it will be forced to save only the starving at the cost of the hungry. It's what they have described as a, quote, doom loop. For more, Trent Murray joins us. He's live in Berlin. Trent, it's a substantial funding gap, the largest in the agency's history. In fact, give us the details on how the consequences of it, though, are being felt worldwide.
Yeah, Dawn, that's right. For 60 years, the UN World Food Programme has been helping some of the world's most vulnerable. And it says in all those 6 decades, it's never faced a funding shortfall quite as big as this. They say that for every 1% that is cut from their budget, another 400,000 people are placed into emergency hunger. That means that they are having to make desperate choices for how to feed themselves and even could die because of malnutrition. And that is why the UN agency today is sounding the alarm. Now, they say many of the hotspots that they are seeing this situation particularly bad include Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Haiti and Syria. In fact, in Afghanistan alone, they've had to cut their budget by some 60%. And for that reason, they are saying today that governments do just need to do more to try and help them. They say for the first time in their history, in fact, they are seeing a massive jump in their services being required, and yet their budget is shrinking. One of the other major issues they say they are facing is the shortage of food and food supplies itself, particularly because of that Ukrainian grain deal collapsing. We know Ukraine is often being described as the breadbasket for some parts of the world, and the fact that grain exports there have dropped significantly because of the war, that is having a major impact on those that are most vulnerable, particularly in Africa and also parts of the Middle East.
Trent, the fact is that global needs are rising here, and the World Food Programme, I mean, as you've just said, it wants governments to do more, but government contributions are on the decline. What are the reasons for this shortfall?
Well, I think the reality is that for many political systems, we see debates and discussions around budget shortfalls. And of course, we know that foreign aid budgets are just so often the first thing to be cut, given the economic uncertainty which has impacted certainly the European Union, where I am, but also, of course, the US to some degree with record inflation. We just know that budgets are tightening both at a governmental level, but also at a personal level. Households in many cases have got less money to spend, less disposable income because of inflation, and that means that there are just less private donations going in as well. But as I say, the World Food Programme is saying that those economic problems that perhaps the West is feeling, well, they are also being felt very much so in the developing world, and it is there that people are most vulnerable. And that is why today Cindy McCain, who leads the World Food Programme, is calling on both governments and citizens to do more to help them make up that double-digit budget shortfall. Dawn.
Some tough choices ahead. Trent, thank you very much for that. Trent Murray, they're reporting live for us from Berlin.